What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Therapist Logan Reacts. Today we got another video for you. Sorry I've been away a little bit. My job has kind of gotten taken me away a little bit. I needed to focus on work for a few days, so I was unable to record like I typically do. Welcome back, though. I'm very glad to see all my subscribers and everybody who's watching this video. If you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed down low. But yeah, let's jump right into it. We got another song. I really like the song of Last Reaction with Ren and Chinchilla, Chalk Outlines. That was a really great song. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But this was another song commented down below, and I really want to check it out too because I really like their flow and really like them. They complement each other really well. So let's jump right into it. It's called How to Be Me. So already I'm thinking identity, so let's jump into it. We're doing the lyric video. There is like an acoustic live version if you want to go for
that. I don't feel safe in this bed. There are voices in my head. I've been talking to the dead, and the fear baptized me. My kingdom turned to dust, and I watched all my riches rust. Have I lost the Midas touch, or do sad eyes blind me over and over?
Wow, beautiful lyrics, kind of just to jump off. Where is it? There are voices in my head.
I've been talking to
the dead. So this can kind of just, again, it's really hard, like, again, as a therapist, like, I'm not jumping to conclusions. First thing that just comes to my mind specifically, and the things I've experienced, again, when we are sad, we typically see a depressive state that aligns more and will kind of reflect more things like maybe grief or things of loss or individuals we have lost, and maybe that's kind of what's going on in this scenario. Or maybe it's like grieving a self of who we once were. That can also be that's a little bit more of an abstract dynamic I don't see a lot, but that's definitely something that I could see kind of in this scenario. And then kingdom turned to dust, and have I lost the Midas touch, or do sad? Here, this is the line that stuck out to me the most. I lost the Midas touch.
Or do sad eyes blind me?
Or do sad eyes blind me? I think this is a very good step in self-awareness. Shout out to Ren and Chinchilla just for this lyric alone. This is really, I think, therapeutically stand out to me, because I think a lot of the time, sometimes emotions can overwhelm us. And in my practice, there's typical times where I'm working with behaviors and how we kind of perceive certain emotions, or how we perceive certain memories. And a lot of the times, if we are in an emotionally heightened state with a specific emotion in mind, you could just say angry, sadness, whatever it may be. In this case, sad. It's like you're looking through emotional glasses, and if you're looking through an emotional glasses with sadness, the experience might be more sad, or you might be focused on a specific thing that's making you more sad and you're feeling more connected to it, or it enhances the sadness of that specific experience because you are now looking at it with the animalistic part of your brain that has to do with emotions, and that is the amygdala. So if the amygdala is pre-firing and that's the main thing that's going on, it's really hard to kind of keep a rational mindset. And so here, I think it's beautiful because sad eyes, in a sense, can blind you to looking at an experience, memory, or perception in a rational way, because again, with emotions aren't rational. So we if they're looking through sad eyes, there may be parts that they're losing and not open to talking, discussing, exploring, processing, and it's important to recognize that maybe it is blinding me. So I think that's a really good lyric.
Over and over we go, over the hills and the valleys below. Oh, and it follows me home. and it suffocates me. Oh, I can't breathe. I said, oh, I can't breathe. All I know.
I think a lot of the time too, when we are emotionally heightened or feel like emotionally overwhelmed, emotions do have this suffocating effect, and it again seems really apparent kind of just here, just not being able to breathe, and just such the uncomfortability that comes along with that is like, just it's almost like you're paused in time and not being able to kind of again do your typical biological practices, essentially like breathing. Like that should be an autonomic response, but if you're so focused and so dialed in that you can't even, like, you're not in the automatic breathing, you have to almost like manually breathe. That's again that's seems to be a sign of like trauma, and like a sign of trauma, and something that's like really apparent to like the fight or flight dynamic. Sorry, I just pulled my wire out. I want to make sure I still can hear it through it. Our voices are killing.
I forgot how to be me.
I forgot how to be me. So that's very different from my first interpretation of the title of the song. Let's keep
I don't feel safe in these halls. There are bruises on the walls. There are bodies in the floors, and they breathe so loudly. I wish I could move, get up and walk.
So, if I'm taking it for face value, these descriptions of walls breathing, bodies in the floor, bruises on the wall, these are very if I'm taking it at face value as a therapist, these appear to be kind of delusions and hallucinations, if they are seeing them. Definitely something to be cautious of. And as a therapist, we try to very tread lightly and explore kind of maybe where that's coming from versus kind of feeding into it. Like, a therapist should never say like, oh, like, yep, I hear them too. That should never be it, because then again, it feeds into maybe the hallucinations or delusions that occur. That being said, I don't think that's the case here. I think there is with how creative Ren and Chinchilla are as artists, they typically create these beautiful, creative ways of personifying certain emotions and perceptions and really painting a picture in inanimate objects. And I think that's the case here. That's at least what I'm getting from it. Again, this is all something a therapist should be focused on as well, like kind of seeing a little bit deeper into it, reading a little bit in between the lines, like, and not being like, it's okay if you get uncomfortable as a therapist exploring some of these things, but don't be afraid to continue to explore them. Don't be ready to like write off something just because something's new and different and doesn't really make sense to you. They're trying to explain it to you, the individual. So continue on, explore that. Just don't feed into certain things that can make it more detrimental to the client.
Walk right out this tomb. Do our saviors die too soon? For my sins surround me. Over and over we go, over the hills and the valleys below. Oh, and it follows me home, and it suffocates me. Oh, I can't breathe. I said, oh, I can't breathe. All I
Yeah, so I was getting some kind of religious hints and feelings kind of throughout it. There were some parts that kind of stuck out, and again, kind of just here, just this idea of following, just not being able to like losing kind of faith in God, especially with. Again, I'm continuously getting more information from in comments from the renegades, and just like again some doing a little of my own research, and again just seeing some of the stuff that he's been through. Like that is something therapists, especially dealing with individuals with chronic pain and having gone through something even remotely like again anything that would resemble Ren's kind of experience. It would be typical for a therapist to see a client lose their faith in religion just because it doesn't make sense, and it's difficult when again something that trivial, something that hard to get through. It's just that if the client was religious beforehand, you will likely typically see kind of a loss of religion, and that's a really hard thing to explain, especially if you're not a religious therapist. It can be a really difficult thing if you are a religious therapist, because it's their perception and how they're kind of seeing through it, but just recognizing that it's questioning it is them trying to make sense of something and looking for comfort. That's ultimately the theme, that they're looking for comfort in that kind of scenario to kind of like have a reasoning for it to make sense. And I think that's kind of what we all do, regardless of your religious beliefs or not. We want to be comforted, and when we're uncomfortable, that's for so long and in pain, like it's not unfathomable that this would be the next stage.
Hallelujah. When I don't know how to be. Hallelujah. I forgot how to be me. When he gave up the fight, a quick decision late in the night. You stayed with me for all of my life. I miss you so.
Wow. I miss you so. I forgot to be me. Forgot how to be me when we gave up the fight. A quick decision late in the night. Oh, I miss you so. Again, it seems to be really closely linked with like this idea that like it's the grieving the self that once was, or a part of that maybe has changed, or a part of them that has maybe died off in previous kind of just before in their past. And it's just like the idea of like moving on or having a new identity, or maybe aligning with new values and morals, or just new values kind of in general. And it's difficult because we do change as humans. We're constantly changing. Everyone's changing at all times. And it's sometimes when reflecting back on where we've come from, it just doesn't really give you a sense of accomplishment, but it gives you more of a sense of grief. And again, typically with more traumatic experiences and more constant pain, that is I feel like you would typically see kind of the grief in like who we've come, like how we've changed, because that grief was so significant, that trauma was so significant that it ultimately changed the trajectory of your life. I do want to make it apparent that you are not ever defined by trauma or anything you've experienced, but it is. You also have to be real and recognize that it did have an effect and may have influenced you within your life, and it's your. Although it may not have been like you have played a role in it, it's your responsibility to work through that. And it's difficult to kind of accept that, especially when maybe some of these things were so uncontrollable and outside of your control, which is unfair and it's shitty, I know. But ultimately, like, you're the one that's going to be able to kind of process and get through that. Like, so it's on us, and it falls on that. And beautifully written song. Again, they killed it. They complement each other so well. I love both of their voices. I will probably add this one to my playlist. I definitely would like this. This is a really good song when maybe I'm feeling questioning my identity, kind of again just having some some deeper seated thoughts about myself as well. And I just think it's a beautifully written song. It has a lot of deep therapeutic ties and a lot of good lyrics. I really like this one. Let me know down below in the comments if you like this one, if you like them, or if you didn't really like this song. Give me a comment why. Let me know. Make sure you drop a like on this video as well, and make sure you are subscribed. We are still moving along, looking to hit that 1,000 subscribers hopefully soon. But yeah, and that way you can stay around for more content. I'll catch you all next video.